Hey, what's happening, CSTers? Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, episode 152. We hope you're all having a fantastic Monday evening, and we're all hopeful here that the internet gods are on our side this week. I'm Nick Sibling, pleased to be with you. We've got Rob Pierce and Bryan Weigel standing by here shortly. Lots to discuss. We get to actually talk about a match we all got a chance to watch over the weekend as FC Cincinnati gets the win over the Charleston Battery in the first round of the Carolina Challenge Cup. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the newest addition to Cincinnati, or I should say FC Cincinnati, Kekuta Manneh, joining the club just last week, actually shortly after our show struggled. And, of course, we'll talk about, because we didn't get a chance last week to publish the episode, we're going to talk about the kits. And now that we've had a week to kind of settle in and see these kits all over the place, we're going to give our thoughts on those as well. Of course, we're going to be watching the live chat here on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. So get in touch with us on Twitter at Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Let's welcome in my cast of characters for this week. I'll start with you, Rob Pierce. Rob Pierce, how are you doing, buddy?
I am excellent. You just mentioned a second ago the kits. I am now the proud owner of my first kit ever. I saw the deal that Fanatics had, and that was my tipping point. I was waffling back and forth. Do I get one? Do I not? I like to try it on first. But I saw that price, and I jumped at it. No name on mine. I feel a little weird wearing a shirt with somebody else's name on the back, but I'm now a kit owner.
Well, congratulations. Welcome to the club. I also made a jump at that deal as well. No name. I'm a no-namer like you, Rob. I can't blame you.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about some FC Cincinnati soccer that we could see with our own eyes. In theory, the club is in like the middle of preseason form, but for FC Cincinnati fans, we're kind of starting to catch up. They've got a lot of new faces, and they're not wearing the numbers on the backs of their kits, so it's kind of hard to figure out who's who. I remember during the match we were trying to figure out whether when and if Stanko had come in for Uloa. That was a bit of a challenge, but I think that's the only one I had trouble with. I think I figured out everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be back and to break it all down.
Well, glad to have you back. We're also glad to have back a stranger himself, Bryan Weigel, back to the show. Bri, how you been, buddy? We missed you.
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I've been worried about you.
Uh-oh.
Really worried about you. You know, we've been having all this stuff with new intros, and it just brought me back to the 2016, 17 version, where it was, 2017 version intro. That beautiful British lady. And I've been thinking, you've been trying to chase her down everywhere. Him and I'll find her. She didn't return your phone calls. Wife's getting jealous. Lo and behold, she's been calling Charleston Battery games in the Carolina Challenge Cup, baby. I found her for you, bud. Got her phone number. We're back in it. We have a new intro video next week, pal.
Yeah, it was hard not to listen to that game Saturday night and not think of our old British female announcer bringing in the show. Poppy, I think is her name from Saturday night. I'll tell you what, cool. I will say this. Watching the broadcast Saturday night and watching her last year, I think she's actually gotten better.
I honestly don't remember her at all, but I figured, you didn't know. Don't make stuff up. You didn't know where she was. Don't lie.
The problem is, you got to think about, too, the last time we heard her was a year ago, right? I mean, we played them in the very first game of the season and didn't have to hear that voice again until Saturday night. So,
if it was normally like me, I was probably drinking during the game, so I probably don't remember everything. But back on the subject of the British people, who the hell's this Odie character that this guy was talking about all week? Odie? We have a guy named Odie?
Oh.
God, seriously. Odie. Seriously, bro. I couldn't believe it anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm excited to be back with you, buddy. Don't want to get too sidetracked here, but glad to be back with y'all here. And
Cincinnati gets the win over the Charleston Battery 2-1 over the weekend, Saturday night, in their opener of the Carolina Challenge Cup. And it started early. Fernando Adi getting on the score sheet in the second minute. I was live tweeting the match, and before you know it, I looked away, and the next thing I know, boom, a goal is scored. And so it was really quick. 2 minutes in, great job by Powell on the right side, hooking up with Maddox, who then found the cross into the box. And Adi tried to miss it at first, but eventually he got that ball in. Hey, look, for a guy who hadn't scored this preseason, you'll take him any way you can, and he finally got it in the back of the net.
I thought that combo was brilliant. 3 former Timber players teaming up together. That's something that a little familiarity can bring. But, Powell brings it up the side and zips it into Maddox over to Audie. And, I mean, yeah, he missed the first time, but he got it in. He put it in.
Yeah, finally a little luck, I guess you could say, to get him back in there. But I think what you said there, Rob, is what great give and goes, ball movement that we've had on that, especially on that right side. I think any side really, when Maddox was on whatever side of the field, that's the side that excelled in this match. But yeah, I'm glad to see Audie finally tally a little bit, see a little offense productivity in at least that first half. So, well, not really a ton of it, but at least getting that first goal. But I don't know, man. What Soups, did that goal 2 minutes in make you feel any better about the preseason so far?
With FC Cincinnati, I'm going to be watching this match for the first time. Really, the first time seeing the team play this preseason. Especially for us here at CST, I don't think any of us have seen FC Cincinnati play. Oh wait, I take that back. There was one person who will remain nameless. To me, I still look at this match as a whole and think, it's, to me, there's not to take away from this. It's still the preseason. We're probably seeing guys on the field we may not see a lot of this year. That's just my personal take. I didn't get excited. I didn't get disappointed. To me, it was just a preseason friendly, and I'm just glad. Honestly, I'm just glad after the result against Indy, they bounced back against what I think will be a pretty good USL side in Charleston. As far as Adi goes, look, this is a guy, and forwards are always these guys always play better when they're playing confident, right? And I don't know if Adi ever had that last year in the USL schedule for us, but you want your goal scorers firing on all cylinders, and maybe this is the spark that gets them going. But I will say this, Bri, after that goal, the next 20 to 25 minutes, it was like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I think a lot of that had to do with players finally playing together. Is I think what you said is like Maddox and Adi played together for the first time that we've had this year. You had that 3-4-3 that we really haven't played a ton with previously. I mean, not many people played with it. Conte's Chelsea team, I guess, played that 3-4-3 that we've seen. So I kind of like it. I don't know what you guys had thoughts about in that match so far, but I kind of liked a little bit different approach. I feel like I personally saw what we were trying to do in this game, trying to, get the ball up the wings, interplay a little bit up the wings and kind of get that ball to where you have your 3 forwards being able to run into space kind of centrally versus having to force 3 forwards wide or 2 your forwards wide. So, I kind of like it so far. Hopefully we can kind of stay the course or keep this process going, I guess, as Coach Koch would like to say.
Yeah. I feel like, too, Rob, that this conversation about formation and tactics, a lot of folks probably don't care all that much about it, but there are a lot of folks who are pretty gung-ho when it comes to this side of soccer. We here at CST have been debating ad nauseum pretty much all offseason because what else is there to talk about? Are they going to play 4 at the back? Are they going to play 3 at the back? Are they going to play 2 defensive midfielders? And then we see a 3-4-3 trotted out Saturday night. We're like, what? Where did this come from? So based on the personnel FC Cincinnati currently have and what you saw Saturday night, are you leaning more towards a 3-man back line, or do you still think this is going to end up being a 4-man back line?
Good question. I would like to see a little more of the 3-4-3 going forward this week in the cup games against Chicago and Columbus. But if it works, I mean, hey, yeah, I mean, you would think that this team would be built for a 3-5-2, but I mean, if a 3-4-3 works, go for it.
Yeah. And let's also keep in mind too, probably I would say Brian, arguably their best defender in Kendall Waston didn't play Saturday night. So we don't know how his involvement will be. We saw Nick Hagelin playing center back. We saw Forrest Lasso play the left center back position, and then Deplagne kind of there in the middle. I don't know. Are you satisfied with that 3-man back line? And how much do you really think we're going to see that pairing or these pairings this season?
Let's go over the whole formation. Really, if you think about it, the 3-man back line where they really challenged a bunch in this match, not really. So I don't think there's a ton to really learn from these guys. My biggest gripe or area where I think that this formation can grow is with those two midfielders, Ulloa and Bertone in that first half. In the first 45 minutes, they'd really sagged a lot. Whereas, the three forwards tried to stay pretty far up the field, kind of put a little bit of pressure on the defenders of Charleston, but that huge gap between the two midfielders and those three forwards really didn't allow much to get going. Our friend Kevin Klosik says like point of contact. Okay, where does our defense or where do we put the most pressure or the beginning of pressure for when the opponents come into our area? When we weren't touching these guys until 10-15 yards into our area. No. That kind of switched in the second half when we had Stanko in there pushing the forwards up the pitch, pushing the midfielders up the pitch, and you saw a little bit more of a turnovers and kind of our springing the forwards a little bit further up there, giving them a chance to run at the Charleston goal. So I kind of like that change going into the second half. I thought that was a net positive, but that's just kind of with this formation. Well, and really what we saw a little bit last year is when our D mids start to sag a lot, we're just going to be under pressure. And if we get the right guys in that midfield, Stanko, we'll see Cruz hopefully Wednesday. I think that could be a lot of positive change for FC Cincinnati and make that formation look a little bit better, clean up the passing, shrink the spaces between the lines, and really hopefully, which fingers crossed we'll see on Wednesday, is a little bit more efficient offensive productivity versus kind of the scattered passing, the wayward crosses that we saw this past Saturday versus Charleston.
Rob, how weird was it to see Justin Hoyt open on the left side of the pitch?
That was a little weird. That definitely took some getting used to. But he had some overlapping runs a bit. I think that's fine, but yeah, definitely weird.
Well, okay, so the guy did pretty good getting up the field. You have to admit that, playing at a different style, completely different position on the side of the field, but a different style of position when you talk about, wing back versus having to be just a traditional fullback. With the 3-4-3, if that's what we're going to be playing, he doesn't always have to worry about his defensive strategy when he can bomb up that field on the left, get that extra man in the attack, create some, mismatches, where we overload our guys in the box. So I thought he played pretty well. Again, it was a surprise on the left, but I mean, the guy's always open, right? So, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not saying he played poorly there. It was just odd to see. We're not used to that. Clearly, we're used to seeing him bombing up the right side of the field for FC Cincinnati.
Dude, hold on now. Dude's looking jacked.
Okay.
Oh, come on. This guy's like Mr. Coach Charleston Battery, man. He's putting these guys in the weight room. I think I can see a huge difference between, Hoyt 2019 versus Hoyt 2018 physicality-wise. I thought he looked pretty good. Maybe it might have been a tight shirt, but yeah, man, look, guys looking jacked.
We must have been watching a different stream. I don't know how you saw from, especially in that first half when they were going when he was on the far side of the pitch from us. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Let's talk a little bit about another gentleman who I wouldn't say maybe had high expectations for FC Cincinnati heading into this season. But the fact that he was brought in as an expansion draft pick and Roland Lamar. Brian, what did you make of his performance on Saturday night?
Pass. pass. No, I'm not. I'm not allowed to have negative takes in preseason. I learned my lesson, Nick.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Let's laugh. Let's have a little fun here, boys. Come on, joke around a little bit.
We're having some fun here. We're lighting it up a little bit.
Unless I'm completely not funny, which my wife says is true. So, no, it is what it is. Lamar still finding his way. I thought of, we were talking off air. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I thought there was only one or two guys that might have hurt his chances. I would say. And when a guy who's rumored to be on a ton of money like Lamar just really was ineffectual versus a USL club, that scares me a little bit. You saw how well Maddox played on the right side. Of course, they flip-flop sides, which I kind of like seeing the changes. But, Lamar, how many times did you say pass the dang ball? Or, where is he looking at? How many times did he dribble into a 1v3 scenario? And you think as a guy who's been in some top leagues in Europe, you see him make these just bonehead plays that our USL guys know are stupid plays. So it's early. He's learning. He's probably not used to playing in a situation or scenario like this. So I'll give the guy benefit of the doubt. Definitely pacey, not afraid to take on guys. So I guess that's a positive thing. But for such a veteran player, that gave me some questions going in this next couple games. Now,
we will preface that. We're going to preface this with, I guess maybe we shouldn't preface it because you've already said your take, but that remind everybody this is still preseason. There's still a lot, and we saw it last year, right? This team, it took a while, even going into almost May, that this team really took a while to get going. So we're just these are just initial thoughts after what we saw on Saturday night, our first chance to see the team. So we're not, by any means saying that we're writing off Roland Lamar. We just feel like, man, he just had an off night, and players are going to have that. Right? Would you agree with that take, Bri?
Well, I'm glad people just don't see our Slack chats, because then, no. I'm joking. No, seriously. We're not shills here. So, if that makes sense.
That does. Rob, is there anybody in particular that, Bryan mentioned some thumbs up, who really stood out to you on Saturday night?
I'm going to say Alvis Powell. That's the first chance I have to see him team up with some of the other guys in the midfield, Maddox and Audie. So for me, my thumbs up is Powell. And really, I'll say this, my man of the match is Audie. As we mentioned earlier, he's kind of gaining some confidence. And, everybody was kind of giving him, doubting him last year and, this year going into the preseason saying, where are these goals going to come from? I think Pat Brennan was saying that he's been progressing as every preseason match has gone along, and we saw it for the first time with our own eyes. And I think that he's going to be proving a lot of people wrong if he continues to step up. And who knows, maybe we'll even the club will even raise a few eyebrows maybe in the first couple weeks.
Man, Rob, if the dude was an NFL kicker, he'd be on the curb next week. Guy missed two clear chances. I mean. Shouldn't our DP be stronger than this? I mean, even though it's preseason, shouldn't he be stronger than that? I mean, two absolute sitters.
I mean, there's kinks to be worked out, sure, but I mean, I think it looked fine, and so I would give Powell a thumbs up, and I would give Audie a thumbs up.
I'm trying to remember. I remember the one, and I the second one I thought was Audie, but I think it ended up being Lamar, and I could be wrong about that. But I mean, still, he did have one on a platter inside the 6-yard box in the first half where he hit the side netting, where he had time to take a touch and actually blast that thing home.
And there's also the goal that he should have had that was called a PK.
Mm-hmm. So he had a miss in the 24th minute in the first half. I think he had one in the second half. But I'm just giving you a little crap here, Rob. The thing is, he put himself into good positions, right? He could have had 4 goals in this game. Yep. The first he had 2 sitters, I believe. That's what I had written down here. And then Yeah, no. So he had won the first half of the 24th minute, and then the 62nd minute in the second half. So I was right. 2 sitters he missed, and then he had what should have been the PK, I believe. So, I love the part that he said that the ref in the was it 56-minute apologized to him for blowing that play dead. So, Adi will get it together, or he better get it together, or else we got Maddox sitting there. So,
which leads me to my next point, Bryan, because I thought, as far as my man of the match goes, I thought Maddox played really, really well. For a guy who we brought in the expansion draft, a lot of question marks about what you were going to get. This is a guy who was highly touted in Vancouver, never really seemed to materialize, right? Then he goes to Portland, never really got going there in Porter's system there in Portland. Then he goes to DC, right? First half of the year, he scores a career high in goals last year. What happens? Rooney comes to town, and he finds himself on the bench, looking on the outside looking in. They bring him to FC Cincinnati, and I don't know. I know it's only one match, and I just said a minute ago it's hard not to get your hopes up about one preseason match, but I really liked what I saw out of Maddox.
Well, in the 3-4-3 especially, you need somebody that can play off other players. I love seeing him playing with Powell. There's even points where him and Yola had some good passing together. Bertoni had a couple. I think the first goal had a little bit of an interplay with them. So I love seeing that so early in the year. Guy who's just not afraid to do quick little passes, give and goes. That can only get better, really, if you think about it, with more familiarity, and the fact that he's trying those things so early on and having that confidence to do those things, that should, in theory, breed success throughout the season. So yeah, you got props to that guy. Of course, he's played with Powell in the past. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that guy.
And we kind of alluded to it as well. The fact that we've got some players now that, and I'm sure we probably could have done this last year with the USL squad we had, with Ledesma playing on the right, switching over to the left, and maybe moving Jimmy over left and right. But it is kind of nice to see the interchangeability up front, Rob.
Yeah, I agree. Maddox can kind of play kind of off of Audi, vice versa. You even throw Ledesma in there, and we know how he can be on either side, left side, right side. So yeah, definitely.
Well, you don't forget that Maddox had that the cross that set up that Audi goal too. So people say this guy hadn't been able to play winger, and he had a good at least a good one a good cross in this game.
What do you make of? And again, I know it's preseason, but what do you make of Maddox being the one to step up and take that penalty kick? Is that an indicator that he's going to be our penalty taker at the start of the season, if in fact we do get a penalty kick?
Great question. That's why you're the host of this show, man. That's a good question. I mean, I thought it was a little surprising that Adi didn't get the shot to do that, especially because he was the guy that set up the PK. You see with Maddox, the guy you let him be the PK guy. We'll see what happens later in the year. Could it be Cruz? Could it be Bertone? Those guys weren't on the field at the time, so I don't think we know Maddox is the guy yet. But yeah, I mean, you see a lot of confidence in this guy, and he put that ball solidly in the back of the net. I mean, this guy's, I don't have the stats in front of me, but he can score goals, and and I'm very surprised it's a new guy that is that PK taker, but has he? I mean, through a couple games so far this preseason, I think he's our leading goal scorer, right? So.
That is true. That is true. How about you, Rob? Did you make anything of the penalty choice?
Like Bryan, I was also surprised that it was not Adi to take the kick, and also like Bryan, I do think it's a good thing that Maddox stepped up and said, "Yeah, I'm going to take this." So I do think that he has the potential to be a main PK taker.
Well, speaking of confidence, right? This is our first chance to really see the new goalkeeper in action, TT, as he's affectionately referred to here with FC Cincinnati. I don't know. What did you make of our goalkeeper? Not really all that tested. A couple of balls into the box. There was one bobble that nearly led to a goal for Charleston that kind of left your head scratching, or left you scratching your head, I should say. And I don't know. What did you make of our goalkeeper performance? Did anything stand out to you, Bri?
I mean, the guy had a blanket and a pillow in the net, so he didn't have much to do last night. No. From all reports, he's played really well this preseason. He had nothing coming his way really in that match. So, do I want him to be sharper? But this guy's played a handful of practice games over the past, 18 months? So we'll see what happens with him. I feel pretty confident that he's going to be solid. Look at Jack Stern. Look what look at the guys that we put in the pipe between the sticks in the course over the past, couple seasons. So I'm not too worried yet. There's always Mitch Hildebrand. It's a free agent too. So, dude, by the way, he's my FIFA keeper and is stellar on FIFA, by the way.
All right. Well, we're going to quickly move on, as the rest of us should. We did see Forrest Lasso. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob. I believe he played all 90 minutes for FC Cincinnati on Saturday night.
Did he?
No, maybe not. Maybe okay. I thought there was somebody on the back line that did. Maybe
Lasagna de Plania.
Thank you. Well, either way, Forrest Lasso got the start, played 70 minutes for FC Cincinnati. I don't think he looked out of place. I thought he held his own. You still there?
Last? Oh, yeah. Did
I cut out? Sorry. What's going on here?
I didn't know you were coming to me.
Yeah.
I think come Seattle, I think Lasso could be starting if what's his name?
Waston?
Yeah, thank you. Drawing a blank there. If Waston is not healthy, and even if he is, maybe he's not see Lasso in Seattle.
I have no idea what Rob just said there because the internet gremlins got to him, but that's okay.
It's okay. We still love him.
He's basically, I think he was saying, and Rob, I'm probably paraphrasing here, that you think Lasso could be starting if there's some injuries back there. So
yep.
If there's injuries, I mean, it's going to be tough if we do a 3-man back line, I think, to displace Deplania and Hagelin. But Lasso played well. He's a big guy, and the thing I like is all three of our center backs were able to pass the ball. They looked comfortable passing the ball on Saturday. They weren't under a ton of pressure, so that, of course, can change things. We saw like last year in the USL playoff loss when the Red Bulls 2 put a lot of pressure on our center backs. He kind of crumbled a little bit passing, so we'll see what happens there. But again, I think he's had an assist this preseason.
Yeah.
And he looked fine. This is a guy who, do I think he's going to start 30 games? Probably not, but can he start 15? Sure, I'd feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good Saturday night as well. What surprised me heading into this match, Bri, and I'll throw this to you as well, Rob. I'll start with you first, though, Bri. I was surprised at just how many guys weren't available. And it's you think about it too. I mean, they've already played 3 matches down there. They've been in preseason for well over a month now, or close to a month, I should say. Any concerns there for the amount of guys that weren't dressed, Bri?
Yeah, I want to have a zinger here, but we're not down there, so we don't know the whole deal.
Yeah.
It's been pretty tight-lipped on that front this preseason. We'll see a lot more. If these same guys aren't dressed on Wednesday, then I'll have a lot of worry. But we still have a week and a half till season starts. So the guys who played weren't bad. Is that my preferred starting 11? I would say there's probably a good 4 positions on there that aren't my starting 11. But we'll see. I really want to see what Stanko and Cruz, if they're going to go Wednesday for 75 minutes. I really want to see, because I think those 2 guys, in my mind, are at least fighting for starting spot, probably with Iowa. We'll see. I don't want to jump around here too much, Nick, but we have D mids. You have Iowa, Bertone. You had Stanko and Cruz that all played. Then you had Alashe and Alexander who didn't play. Am I forgetting somebody there? I feel like I'm forgetting somebody too, but in this 3-4-3 system, when you have so many D mids, center midfielders, and you only have 2 spots for them. That kind of, to me, seems, was this just a trying something out, this 3-4-3, or is this going to be, with the personnel we have, is this what's going to be the whole year? Because if so, we better be trading some of these guys and getting some more attacking wing talent, at least depth. So another thought process there.
Is there anybody, Rob, that you didn't get to see Saturday that wasn't dressed that you're kind of hoping you get a chance to see this week, either against Chicago or Columbus?
Waston, he was a partial participant earlier today, according to Pat Brennan reporting in Charleston. So I hope he gets to see the pitch. And I'm also wondering what's up with Garza. I mean, he had that injury back in January camp, and he, according to Pat, is still working off to the side. So, I mean, I don't know the scope of the injury, but might be asking a lot of him to come back and be match fit and ready for Seattle. So
good point.
There's a good chance that Blake Smith or even Justin Hoyt on the left side will be starting.
And to be fair, Garza has a long history when it comes to injuries. I mean, this is something that has kind of plagued him in his career. So probably best to play it cautious here. There's no need for him to be playing these matches down in Carolina. What you want him for is hopefully be ready for Seattle, and if not, hopefully he's ready for Atlanta or possibly Portland. And then obviously, there is that potential you might not have him this summer. So proceed with caution when it comes to Greg Garza. So FC Cincinnati kicks off their very first ever Carolina Challenge Cup with a win over the Charleston Battery. They are the clubhouse leader right now with 3 points in the Challenge Cup. They will take on Chicago here coming up on Wednesday night. We'll talk about that match here in just a moment. It's that time of the show, though, where we give a big shout out and thanks to our tremendous supporters. So first and foremost, thanks to King's Hammer and Tim Bronsel, Matt Adamczyk, Mama Subs, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Mike Hudson, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, Kathleen Francis, Jesse King, Teresa Everidge, Matt Imholt, and Matthew. Thank you so much for supporting Cincinnati Soccer Talk. To learn more about how you can support Cincinnati Soccer Talk, head on over to our website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support, where you can learn more. It's not too late to get entered into our Growler Cup this year, presented by Omni Printing and Promotions. Here in the next week or two, we're going to be announcing the new format for this year's competition. We're really excited about how that's going to go this year. So get involved. All you got to do is be a $5 a month donor. So head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. So FC Cincinnati taking on the Chicago Fire coming up on Wednesday night. Chicago coming off a 1-1 draw with the Columbus Crew Saturday evening against 10-man Crew Saturday evening after Will Trapp was sent off for the Crew. What do you make of this match? What are you most looking forward to, Rob?
What I'm most looking forward to is to see what most resembles the starting 11 play together for a good 65 to 70 minutes. I would think that would mean Cruz in the first group, and based on what we just talked about with Garza, Blake Smith being in the first group. I want to see some consistency there and familiarity, and hopefully that'll just kind of smooth things in for Seattle and onward.
Yeah, there's one thing we've learned from Coach Koch is he hides his hand. He doesn't hint anything till the very, 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 very last moment. I mean, heck, look at the group that ran out in the last preseason game last year. So we just need more. These guys, you highlight it, Rob. You've got to think that you pencil in Adi and Maddox in the starting 11, right? So I want to see these guys, even if they're just playing 30 minutes in the second half. I just want to see some of these groups, these groupings that Coach Koch has said in the previous seasons, is just have a couple of position guys that you're probably going to play together during the regular season. I just want more of those roles. Is what you said. Blake Smith's going to be your starting guy. Make sure he gets in there a little bit more. But I really want to see what happened in the second half with the midfield, is make sure whoever your D mids are, to make sure that high line is in their correct position, not too deep. Don't let Chicago Fire just run rag shot at our defense, because that's when we're going to concede goals. It's just going to happen when you let teams have 75% possession running at your back three. So I want to see our midfielders hold possession a little bit more, and just make sure that we can support our forwards, because if we have 3 forwards but they're isolated and they're not getting the ball, then it's useless, right?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Bryan.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. What I really liked when, and again, I know the second half was against some trialists for Charleston, but when Ledesma was on the pitch, I would like to see Ledesma alongside Adi and Maddox to see what he can do from a playmaking standpoint, as well as, again, we've seen his creativity. We know he's got the ability to put the ball in the back of the net from set pieces as well. So for me, I would want to see, and I don't know if we'll see this Wednesday night or not, but I would like to see Ledesma get 70 minutes with Maddox and Adi to see what that partnership can create. Because this is, partnerships is what Alan Koch has talked about for ad nauseum, right? He wants to see who and what are the best partnerships he's got. I'd like to see, and this is the time to tinker and experiment, right, Rob? I mean, adding Ledesma to a front line with Maddox and Adi, that could be exciting.
I would love to see that happen. I think we're getting to the point where experiments might kind of be over, but that is one that I would love to see.
I mean, I think this whole year is going to be experimenting, Rob. No offense. We're not going to be a finished product day one. We can't be a finished product day one because our roster, in my opinion, is not finished yet. I mean, we're going to be adding a piece. You have to be adding a piece probably in this summer window. I think you to look at us and say we have a starting 11 right this so early with playing so few games together, I think it's not an accurate assessment, or really an accurate expectation. So I think you're going to see a lot of these mix and matches throughout probably the first 10 or 15 games. Look what we saw. I mean, we thought we had a starting 11 going into our last 10 games last season. We thought we finally had everybody playing together, and then 3-4 games to go, Coach Koch pulls the rug out, and then it puts in Tyler Gibson and changes the dynamic of the team. So I think it's going to be a continuously evolutionary process this year. One name who we really haven't talked about, who I really want to see, Nick, Kekuta Manneh. Really want to see what he can add. You're talking about having Maddox, Lamar, Adi, Manneh. I mean, that's the fastest attacking core in Major League Soccer. Add in an Alan Cruz behind them, and man, that's pretty scary. Actually, I kind of like it.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Kekuta Manneh here in just a minute. I want to go back to what we saw out of Ledesma Saturday night. He brought that flair. He brought some swagger to the pitch, right? Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. It just felt like every time he was on the ball, he was doing something to really get at the opposing team, whether it be a couple of pullbacks, step overs, just trying to make I don't know. He just brought something different to the match Saturday. So that last 20 minutes when he got on the ball, he brought some excitement, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, like Maddox, he's a player that has confidence, that is not afraid to try different things, and he likes to put his teammates in positions to succeed. Maddox was playing off Powell, off Adi. Ledesma had that great cross to Cruz that he just couldn't put away in the last 10 minutes of the game. He continues to work well with Corbin Bone. So I think those are the guys. When you're saying, Rob, you said it earlier, is why you want to see Ledesma is for that reason, is that he plays well with the other guys. Whereas, no offense to Lamar, I'm dogging him hard on the show. Very isolated, very to himself, trying to make the runs by himself. Early on this year, we need the Ledesmas, the Maddoxes, to work to get us some more chances. I mean, in a 3-4-3, you need to be able to work with your teammates to to make sure that the team has possession. You can't just have these isolated runs, or else they're going to just count. Guys are going to make, your D-mids are going to run behind you, and you turn the ball over, then the other team can quick counter. So if you got guys like Maddox and Ledesma playing well with the midfielders, playing well with the forward, holding that ball up, that in this formation, that will breed success. And that's what happened with Chelsea, right? I mean, look at, what's his darn midfielder? Conte.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, N'Golo Kante for Chelsea, not being deployed in the right spot right now. But that's another topic for another podcast. So as far as the Chicago Fire goes, obviously we watched them Saturday night draw with the Crew, had a man advantage and didn't really do much with that. And so I know we're still all in this process of learning these Major League Soccer teams, their roster makeups, what we can expect from the Chicago Fire this year. This is a team that we know they've got Bastian Schweinsteiger. We know they've got some pretty talented guys. But for whatever reason, over the last few years, Brian, and you covered Major League Soccer pretty closely with your old podcast, the Fire, when they first started out, came out like gangbusters, right? I mean, they won the MLS Cup in their first year with Bob Bradley. But like this is a team that I don't know what to make of them. Are they going to be a playoff team in the East, or are they just going to be like where we usually see them, missing the playoffs and really struggling?
Well, the beauty about Major League Soccer is anything can happen. So you get the right player, but
and to be fair, 2 years ago, this was a really good team. They had a great run in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we eliminated them in the Open Cup, but that was the hottest team in Major League Soccer at the time when they came to Nippert.
Yeah, I mean, you got a head coach, and I'm gonna butcher it, Vaka Panovic, who's a Serbian, former youth international coach. He's brought a lot of his own guys finally into camp this year, so I think they're expecting a lot of positivity out of this team. They have several new international designated players, so kind of like FC Cincinnati, I think. While they have some good pieces, they're still trying to figure things out. So I don't expect to see anywhere close to a finished product on Wednesday night. But you're still going to see a team that has a lot of quality, and they got the individual playmakers that should at least give our back four or back three, back five a little bit more of a challenge than what Charleston did.
If you're Fernando Adi, Rob Pierce, you're probably very excited about the opportunity to go up against Bastian Schweinsteiger, who's going to be, it sounds like he's going to be playing center back this year for the Chicago Fire. Not historically his best position. We know he's good with the ball at his feet, but how well can he defend and can he hold up to that physicality? This is where maybe a guy like Adi, can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think that would be a very, very enticing matchup, to say the least.
So FC Cincinnati, again, they continue their Carolina Challenge Cup on Wednesday night against the Fire, and then they're going to wrap up with what should be a fun one against the Crew. Hell is Real, starting early, the first rendition of 2019. We know we're going to see a lot of reserves. We know we're going to see a lot of changes, but it's still a derby match, Rob. How excited are you to see? I mean, we've been talking about this since we knew that these two teams were going to play one another weeks ago. Now it's here. I mean, how excited are you?
Well, I'd be more excited if it weren't in Charleston and if it were here in Columbus, but still excited nonetheless. I can't wait to watch.
I guess the bummer too, if you think about this, is after these two teams face off on Saturday, Brian, this isn't going to happen again until August unless there's an Open Cup match.
I was just going to say that is, if you're not excited for this game, even though it's preseason, what's wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, hell is real. Anytime we can get it, it's going to be anytime we can brag over these guys. It's just like anytime you play Louisville, anytime you play Nashville SC, even though it's preseason, it's fun. So I want to have, is it wrong to say a little bit of bad blood in this game? We had a lot of chippy fouls in this Charleston game.
Well, Will Trapp's already been sent off once in Charleston. So.
Shoot, I'd like to see a little bit more of this chippiness. Honestly, yeah, let's have Adi just like take out Will Trapp or something and cause a 6-month injury. No, I'm joking. Don't ever probably root for that. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. If we win, awesome. If we don't win, that's a preseason game.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it is if if it doesn't go well, you can just chalk that up to it didn't count. It's not a real match. So that game coming up on Saturday. That'll be the last, I believe, preseason friendly for FC Cincinnati before they head up to Seattle to take on the Sounders. We are less than 2 weeks from the season opener, folks. Think about that. We are less than 2 weeks from FC Cincinnati playing a real soccer match that counts in Major League Soccer. Wow, that's crazy to think about. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so get in touch with us, feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. We also want to hear your thoughts if you're watching us live here on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. In fact, if you're listening to the podcast as well, you can chime in. Again, email us if you want. But since last week's show, we had that big snafu, couldn't get anything going. Internet gremlins were not my friend. Knock on wood, so far, we've been pretty good tonight. But now we can actually talk about the kits, which, by the way, I'm going to call them a kit because that's what they're called. So I got some flack on social media over the weekend about not calling them jerseys. It doesn't.
A little fun there, catch hepatitis or something about it. It's an Adidas orange and blue is great about it. Yeah, but I just.
Yeah, I was able to score that deal over the weekend as well.
I really like the blue one. The white one, the road kit or alternate or whatever you call it. I could take it or leave it, but the blue one is sharp, and that's what made me consider getting one. And that deal on Fanatics kind of threw me over the edge there, so I grabbed it. Can't wait to put it on.
Yeah, for me, the white kit, a little less, little more to be desired, I guess I should say. I was hoping to have a little bit more color around the collar and maybe on the stripes on the shoulder. Kind of plain for me. Understandable. I mean, it's a white kit. I mean, it is what it is. I really like the blue and orange kit. I think it looks sharp. I know it's a stock jersey, but to me, I really liked it. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. So get in touch with us, feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. We've got CST Extra Time coming up after the show, so make sure you stick around for that. We did get this tweet last week, and I thought it was so good I'd bring it back this week, gentlemen. This is from our own Boston Razzle Dazzle Brazzle, Mr. PT MLS Teams Kit. Whose kit do you buy? So you've got $100 to buy a Major League Soccer Teams kit that is not FC Cincinnati's. Whose do you buy? Bri, is there anybody that really sticks out to you?
Yeah, Columbus Crew, so I can burn it.
Did not see that coming. Well, all right, that's $100 well spent. How about you, Rob?
Liverpool.
No.
It has to be an MLS kit.
Yeah. Damn it, Rob.
I'd also say the Crew. I wouldn't burn it, but we're rivals, but I give a little respect to them up there for them being one of the original MLS franchises, and they went through a lot last season with Save the Crew. So for that reason, I'd buy a Crew shirt, a Crew kit.
No. Where's that meme when you need it of Tracy Morgan just saying no. For me, I would probably either go with.
Hold on. I'm gonna guess it. Wayne Rooney.
No, it's not in the Eastern Conference. Although now that you say that,
yeah,
no, I'm not going to get a DC United.
Mr. Man United.
I like if I could go back in time and buy the original Seattle Sounders jersey when they joined Major League Soccer. That kit, that Xbox jersey, was pretty awesome. It was me on myself watching more of. I had that a Premier League game, so for me, it'd probably be a Timbers jersey. But that's a great question from Boston. If there's anybody, Paul Hetger agrees with me a little bit there about the Sounders. Let's see. Rob Burkhart says, don't mess with Zlatan, so I'm assuming he would get a jersey for the LA Galaxy. That's a solid choice as well. My mother says Indy. Mom, they're not in Major League Soccer. Follow the rules. You're just another Rob Pierce. Ugh, sheesh. Anyway, get in touch with us. Feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. as we begin to wrap things up, let's talk a little bit about Kekuta Manneh, Bryan. What can you tell us about the newest addition to FC Cincinnati?
He's fast. No, in honesty, former MLS player, sky was proverbial limit with him. Did very well in Vancouver, and I'm sure, of course, we have our Orange Caps connection now with Coach Alan Koch. But 22 goals in 5 seasons with Vancouver. Then transferred over to Columbus Crew for a season. Then went to Liga MX with Pachuca and didn't really feature much. One senior cap, and then was off to the Swiss Super League, Leo Bertoni's Swiss Super League with St. Gallen, if that's the correct name. But now he's back here, back into a familiar league in Major League Soccer that doesn't necessarily have to be the most technically gifted league, but he's going to offer that speed. Now let's see what he can offer finishing wise. That's kind of always been some of his knock in his history. So if he can kind of get a little bit more efficient in front of goal, maybe challenge, push Lamar a little bit on the wing, or maybe even back up body, we'll see what happens.
And obviously has some familiarity with Alan Koch there in Vancouver, Rob.
Yeah, Vancouver East, isn't that what we called the last year's squad?
Yeah, the Orange Caps, I like that.
Yeah.
Making T-shirts.
And the show comes to a grinding halt. Anyway, we're excited about his addition. To learn more about the newest signing for FC Cincinnati, head on over to our website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Find out a little bit more about Kekuta Manneh. All right, as we can wrap things up, it's been a fun show tonight. First of all, it's been a fun show. We've had Bryan Weigel back in the podcast saddle. It's been a while.
See you in 3 months.
Yeah, right. But the good news is we made it through the show with very minimal issues. So thank you, Internet gods. I appreciate you. You got any final thoughts as we get out of here, Bryan?
Yeah, baby. I'm excited about this team. Back to talk about kind of how we played a little bit. If we stick with this process or plan in the 3-4-3, I want to see it evolve. I don't want us to give it up so quickly. And, if it was just a one-day gimmick, what the hell are we doing? Why are we putting that out so early or just for one game in the preseason? So I don't believe it's a gimmick. If it is, what the heck? But I really would like to see us, play with it, tinker with it a little bit more, try to implement this process. And I do. It does excite me. And I'm very optimistic with what Coach Koch would run out if he would continue with this strategy. So final thought, pretty excited as long as we stick with it.
Good stuff, Bri. As always, we appreciate you being with us, and we hope it's not another 3 months.
Well, I was average. I promise to everybody I'll get better than my twin brother Brad at this again. It's just been quite busy December, January, February. But
we did get some comments.
We
did get some comments early on in the show about the correct twin being on this week.
Yeah,
so that was funny.
Some people said my Chuck E. Cheese line buffered, so I'm all disappointed there. But if you're listening to this on the podcast, hopefully you heard it.
You will definitely have heard it on the podcast. Good stuff, Bri. Rob, final thoughts as we begin to wrap up?
For my final thought, I'll go not necessarily FC Cincinnati specific, but kind of the U.S. soccer landscape. I saw a tweet that U.S. Soccer will soon announce a deal with a media partner to cover the U.S. Open Cup with unprecedented access for fans. And I think and I hope that means that we'll be able to watch all the matches on ESPN Plus. What a deal signing up for that plan has been, by the way. And we all have fond memories of FC Cincinnati's 2017 U.S. Open Cup run. So I think it would be cool to get to see all the matches. And for a true soccer junkie, it would be kind of neat to see, some of the early matches. Wouldn't it be cool to see the Dayton Dutch Lions win a couple games, or like Kenny Walker and Tyler Gibson taking on Ben Lunt? You have maybe Louisville City and Indy 11 can meet up. So I hope that's what the announcement is. and I watch as much of it as I can.
I hope Dayton Dutch Lions beat Louisville City FC. End of story.
Yeah, that too.
Actually, I hope Cincinnati Dutch Lions get in there one day and do that.
Someday.
They will. They're going to be stacked this year, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm excited too about the Open Cup. And when I heard that there was unprecedented coverage, my first reaction, Rob, was it's about time. How is this cup competition not had a regular TV provider? That's been so disappointing.
Hold on though. Unprecedented coverage. One's greater than zero, so that's unprecedented coverage. So let's cool our horses here a little bit. But yeah, no, Rob, I agree with you. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I hope it's on ESPN Plus as well. And again, they're not a paid sponsor of this show, but I have found ESPN Plus to be a really good investment. You get to watch the FA Cup games, the A-League games, the Serie A games. I think it's been worth the $50 a year. And with that, you get to see all the Major League Soccer games as well. So just my 2 cents as I add in there. Of course,
somebody's getting rich off of it. So
yeah, for sure. I think it was a brilliant move by ESPN to get all that soccer content over there. So if you're craving soccer content and you're, sitting around watching TV, head on over to ESPN Plus. That's just mine.
Donate to Cincinnati Soccer Talk.
That too.
Sorry.
Anyway, good stuff this week, gentlemen. We've got CST Extra Time coming up next for Bryan Weigel and Rob Pierce. I'm Subes, reminding you to watch your tackles, and we'll see you all next week. And we're back. CST Extra Time coming at you. This is a chance for us to kind of wind down and relax. Now, Bryan, your brother has kind of set the precedent on this show with Extra Time of just leaning back, putting his feet up on his desk, chilling out and relaxing. Are you going to do that this week?
I got a boom mic, so probably not. But I really wish everybody who's listening to the podcast would have seen this freaking hysterical little gun gesture that Subes just did. Like, hey, we're back. And he shot his Magnum PI guns or whatever those things are called. So, yeah. So that was something. Oh shoot! I love you, Subes, man. I missed you, buddy.
No, I missed you too, dude.
Rob, you're all right too, bud.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
No problem. Just don't ever say Liverpool again, because damn, I'm joking.
Oh man! All right. So our first tweet this week comes from Jeff Meyer. It says, "Are you guys in any supporters groups? If so, which?" Rob, you in any groups this year?
I am. I kind of had a progression. In 2016, the first year, I thought of a supporters group as a lot of commitment, and I wasn't sure that I was up for that commitment. But then I started going to Mecklenburg's before some of the games in the 2017 season where Dienenstadt hangs out, and I figured, well, I've been here enough. I might as well join. And so I did Dienenstadt in 2017, and then last year I joined the Pride and kept Dienenstadt. And then this year I added the Brigade. Is that the correct pronunciation?
I don't know. You're in the damn thing. Sorry.
Anyway, so I'm in the 3 big local ones. I may even do Auxilia 1 and a couple of the other branch ones. Maybe that'll be next season. I seem to join a new supporters group every season, so maybe that'll be one for next season.
How about you, Bri?
Yeah, I guess officially, I'm only in one right now, but all of them are great. If you find your niche, if you want to be in them all, great. If you want to just be in one specific one, that's great too. They're all great. They all have their you can fit in anywhere in this club. And they're all great people. So, yeah, I suggest check them out. If you like tailgating, go be with the Mafia. If you like to go with the outdoor pregame stuff and you like the people, go to Dienenstadt. If the Pride's a great group of people. So, love them all.
I've been officially a member of the Pride and Dienenstadt. Last year, I did not join any of the supporters groups. Mainly because I knew I just knew I wasn't going to be able to get down there as much as I had wanted to with my kids' soccer schedule. So make sure you go follow all those folks on social media. The supporters groups, they're all great. They all do a great job. I embarrassed myself with the Mafia there at the parking garage there on Short Vine. I think I kicked one of the lights out. But when's the statute of limitations up on that? I don't know. Anyway, next tweet. This is from Matthew Long. Good supporter of the show. Matthew, thank you. Who from the USL squad could you see being sent out on a season-long loan? Oh, the looks I just got from Bryan Weigel.
It's a hell of a question. Oh, that's a heck of a question.
Well,
really.
let's think about it. There's what? Welshman. There's Bone. There's Blake Smith. There's Lasso. I mean, I'm just listing off the USL guys.
I think you kind of, with that first one there with Welshman, he looks to me like a guy that could end up like with one of those Canadian teams, the Canadian Premier League.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. You know, Koch, bring him on. He's a good. I mean, I still think he can play in Major League Soccer, but when you see Manneh coming in, Lamar, Maddox, you're really starting to fall down the depth chart there, and he can probably go right now and be a top 2 or 3 number 9 in that CSA. So that's probably the one I would say.
I'm also saying Welshman, but just as a matter of deduction, I think we tweeted out and put it on Facebook earlier, Ken Hetker's thing of the roster logistics and everything. And if I remember that right, doesn't FC Cincinnati need to get rid of one international spot? And then Welshman would be that one, in my opinion.
Well, if Major League Soccer can make up rules to make sure Los Angeles has 4 DPs, they can let us keep Welshman if they want. I don't know.
What about, and here's a name we haven't said a lot of, Brian. What about Alashe?
Man, that's a good question. It's kind of what I said on the regular show is we got 6 D mids, and right now we're using 2 center mids. So when you add a Maya in there, who's a 10 creative, whatever. So yeah, we'll see. I think that's a really good point there. Except the fact though we gave up money for him, I would have a hard time seeing that. Whereas somebody else is free.
This next one from Brad Baker says Darren Maddox leads the team in goals at the end of the season. No, so not really a question so much as a statement, Rob.
Yeah, that's not a question. It's possible. I would still think Audie, but I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. If you said that and it comes to the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised, I guess.
If he is the PK taker, I think he's got a shot. I mean, we saw last year with Ledesma, who wasn't a true number 10, be the leading goal scorer, or sorry, number 9 being a leading goal scorer. So, yeah, I think Maddox is possible. It would shock me if Audie isn't the guy. It's kind of what Rob said, but you never know. Audie, let's just say he doesn't cut it, and Maddox goes into that role. I mean, he's going to get a bucket more chances. So yeah, it's possible. I think he's a leader in the clubhouse.
That's a bold prediction, Brad. I like your thinking. And what we've seen so far here in the preseason, that's a pretty good indicator. Maybe that is the case. We shall see. Thank you for the tweet, Brad. We appreciate it. This tweet is from Joe Scroggin. It says, "Hey, Cincy Soccer Talk. I saw today." Oh, this was from last week, actually. I saw today that Beckham is getting a statue made.
Oh, hell yeah!
Who in the CST crew should be immortalized in statue form, and in what medium? Granite, bronze, butter. Wow. Good question, Joe. So which one of us from CST should get a statue?
I'm going to handle this. Granite is Bill Wolf. Just chiseled. Love that guy. Face that I had. If you haven't seen my photo on Twitter, go check it out where I'm just going crazy at the Columbus Crew game. I think that's what it was. Angry Brian face. That's a bust right there. That's a $20,000 bust right there. And butter, baby. I'm going to say that's the butter is going to be a recreation of Soups when he painted himself.
Oh, jeez.
So Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, butter. I mean, I love me some butter.
I'm never going to be allowed on the show after saying
for me, Bryan, which was very awesome. I can't
you
believe that
do.
even happened in the first place. That was remarkable.
You do. And I love this. Rob Burkhart says this on Facebook. You can do Bryan because it's 2 for 1. That's freaking hysterical. And I love you for that, Rob. A lot of bromance coming out of the Bryan Weigel tonight. I'm not even drinking. Oh, shoot. That's funny. That's funny.
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, just, throw a pair of glasses on him and it's Bryan. Take the glasses off and it's Brad.
It's like Superman and Clark Kent.
Holy heck.
I would say that you typically have statues for people that are retired. So I would say if we could get a statue of Yosef eating a slice of pizza.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. Free pizza.
Yeah. Tasty.
All right. And then the last tweet we got this week is from Dr. Hodenbaugh. This past weekend, I had a dinner party where I made mac and cheese with a recipe assist from Bryan Weigel.
Whoop, whoop.
So first and foremost, Bryan, what is this recipe he speaks of?
So you take a little flour, a little butter, cook that up, throw some milk in, thicken that, and then throw cream cheese, let that simmer out. And then you throw some normal cheese in there and then pour it all over cavatappi, not macaroni, throw it over cavatappi. It's dynamite. I'm telling you, it's amazing. So that's my macaroni and cheese. It's incredible.
Okay. So what should he bring to his next dinner party?
So I'm a guy who likes taking things that are elementary and kind of jazzing them up a little bit. So my favorite is a little London broil steak. Now it's tough. It's a little bit more chewier steak, but if you let it sit in soy sauce, seasoning, salt, Worcestershire in a Ziploc bag for a day, and then you grill it over high heat for like 2-3 minutes, and then you low cook it for like another 10 or 15, slice it up across the grain, super, super thin, and it just melts in your mouth. And it's cheap.
London broil. Interesting. All right. How about you, Rob? What should he take to his next dinner party?
Since we're loosening up here a little bit on extra time, I'm going to change the question around and not give my advice for a dinner party, but for a breakfast party.
Oh,
the game goes, Rob.
One of my favorite things to eat is a creation I have made myself. I make it 2 times a year for Father's Day and for my birthday. And that is that you take, it's called a Gouda bacon donut sandwich.
Ooh.
And the donut is the bun. And you turn it so that the glazed side, it has to be a glazed donut. The glazed side is down. And then you take a piece of Gouda, an egg, a couple pieces of bacon, pepper jack cheese, and a little smear of jelly. The flavor really doesn't matter. Grape, strawberry, raspberry, whatever you want. And that is a sandwich, and it is phenomenal. It's one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Can you make that for like 15 people though? Is that a possibility?
Most I've ever made it for is 3. If you have enough skillets and burners and stuff like that, I don't see why not.
So Doc, we'll just call that like a little mini brunch party. We won't say it's a dinner party. We'll call it a little mini brunch get together. But it does sound very tasty.
It sounds delicious. Is there a specific kind of glazed donut that you recommend, Rob?
I think Krispy Kreme is one that Buskin. I've used Buskin from time to time, but Krispy Kreme is my go-to there.
Only problem is there's no fresh Krispy Kreme up in this area.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have them up there.
No. Nope.
Normally they're down south. Nothing's better when you're driving down the street and you pass the Krispy Kreme and the lights on. You can go in there. And it's just incredible.
I did hear that they're potentially opening up a Krispy Kreme up here. So that would be kind of cool.
Oh.
A warm Krispy Kreme, I mean, you can't beat that. But, I mean, there are some much better donuts. But
bite your tongue. Actually, Holtman's pretty good.
Right. I mean, there's some donut shops there in Cincinnati that I
do like Holtman's.
Are better than Krispy Kreme, in my opinion. As far as me, what would I have you bring?
No, what would you make?
Right. Yeah. Right. Um, so I have this thing where I deep fry steak. I've enjoyed doing that. It's a recipe I found on YouTube from Cowboy Kent Rollins. It's a New York strip, and you literally deep fry it. And for Christmas, I got a deep fryer. And with it being so cold, I have not been able to use it as much as I would like to. But and I'm still trying to perfect the deep fried New York strip steak. But that has been that's been fun to do.
If I'm buying something at $8.99 a pound, I ain't throwing it in a deep fryer. Holy crap! Oh man, that actually, I'd try it. I think. Do you put a little gravy on top?
Yeah, a little white gravy. It's pretty good. It's a lot of fun to make too.
Sounds
I mean, how often do you get a chance to take a full New York strip and just coat it in flour? I mean, it's fun to make. Now, it might be tough to make for 15 people at a dinner party, but if you got a big enough fryer, maybe.
So, Doc, I gave you something realistic. Rod gave you something that's a good brunch thing, and Subes is taking a lot of money and throwing it in a deep fryer. So, I can't believe when you said that. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, that'd be expensive, man. I'd just buy a freaking beef tenderloin and throw it in the deep fryer while you're at it. Holy shit. You want to throw $100 down the drain real quick? Oh, I'm joking. I love you.
Oh, well, that was just, yeah. Anyway.
Piker, that's a sin. Thank you.
Oh, that was fun.
It's like slapping God in the face.
Well, thank you to Jacob Clary, our staff intern, for putting these together. Always send us your tweets at Cincy Soccer Talk with the hashtag CST Extra Time. Good stuff, gentlemen. Until next time, we will see you all next week.